Wednesday, 11:02 at night. So we've been getting home earlier lately. That's a good sign. Today I started my, excuse me, oh my God, fluster. Today I started my day around 6 a.m.-ish, like 6:15. Um, I woke up, read my affirmations, worked out, had some tea, changed and had a shower, and then I had a meeting at 8. And it was with the guy that I mentioned in the previous video. Um, man, I can't express how much this guy truly shocks me. Like, he just so willing to be generous and just to gave me insane knowledge. I want to emphasize and make sure you guys keep in mind that this guy is a very accomplished person. His company, I'm not gonna give too much details. I try my best not to give too many details. I'll make it like a round number. The company is worth somewhere between 70 to $100 million. This guy did it the exact way that I'm trying to do it, and he's just giving me knowledge. He built the company in 3 years. Think about it. How did he do that? Guys, it's through acquisitions, through M&A. You grow very fast when you do that. And I was telling him about the accounting firm problem that we've been facing, and I wanted to see if he dealt with that. And I wanted to give a couple options on how I could fix it, and I want him to tell me if I'm right or wrong and what I should do. And basically, what he was telling me is he was very much emphasizing on speaking about your vision and being able to articulate your vision in such a clear fashion. It's very important, very, very, very important. And he was like, if you are able to cast a vision in a certain way and you're able to do it the right way, these accounting firms will gladly give you deferred fees. So, yeah, that's what he did, guys. Like, he did the exact same thing. He got a deferred fee for the professionals. And something pivotal that he mentioned that I don't do is he was like, listen, it's a song and dance. You got to know how to dance. Like, you can't mention deferred fees right away. And that is so different than my approach. My approach, which now I'm changing it, right? My approach is I tell them straight up about the deferred fees. If they say yes, then boom, let's go. Let's get the ball going. But what I found is when I ask these professionals for a deferred fee basis and they do say yes, I've had a bunch of people tell me yes on the phone. When it really comes down to the wire, they won't send you an engagement letter. Even if they send you an engagement letter that has the terms that you're looking for, it's not going to come without a retainer. They're going to want you to give some kind of retainer. So like he told me, like, listen, if you're trying to, bang a girl, for example, you don't ask to have sex immediately as you meet her. You know, it's a song and dance. You got to play the game. You got to build it up. You got to build the relationship. He gave me a ton of knowledge, guys. We were on the phone for over an hour. And the best way I could show appreciation to people like this, and it's not just him. I've also had some other people that contacted me who watched this series and they just want to help me out. They've done acquisitions, and I really appreciate it. The best way I could take action and show appreciation to these people's time is to take action. I said that a little bit too early. The best way I could show appreciation for what they're doing for me, because they believe in me, right? The best way I could show appreciation is to take action. So another thing that was mentioned was the people on your board of directors. And something I asked them was like, how do you meet these accounting firms? Like, how do you get introduced to them? Do you call them? Do you email them? How do you do that specifically? And he told me you need to get introduced through connections, through your board. Your board should have connections. And it kind of made me wonder about my board, because it's kind of making me think like maybe I took the wrong steps when I built my board. Like the accountant on my team right now, he doesn't necessarily have connections, but his experience is widespread. He's been a CFO at multiple companies. He's taken a company for an IPO. He's done international mergers. He's worked at PwC as an auditor. So he has a ton of connections. But the thing is about him is that he just moved to America recently. So he doesn't necessarily have connections in America. So maybe it's time for me to, fix that spot. I think my lawyer has connections. He told me about it and I didn't ask him for it. That's the thing. I didn't want to go after it right away. I kind of wanted to see if I could do it on my own, kind of prove myself. But I think I'm going to ask him for those connections and kind of get the intro. And my approach now is a bit different. I'm going to not ask for a deferred fee. I'm not going to ask for a deferred fee. I'm going to just kind of let them lead the way when it comes to fees. We're not going to talk about it on the first meeting, second meeting, whatever. Like, whenever the offer comes, I'm either going to accept or deny. And if they really believe in me and my vision, and they want me to stay on, they're going to counter with another counter, and keep lowering, like, the offer as far as, like, the price. And we're going to go from there, see if that works. Another option that I'm facing right now is to maybe bring on an accountant in-house, which means instead of outsourcing the work to a firm, I bring someone on the team and I give them equity. So that way they could do a Q of V, for example, for me. They could do an audit for me. They could do, due diligence on like the law side for me. But the thing is with that I'm a bit confused about is when I go to these banks, what do the bankers think? Like, would they loan me money if I don't have an accounting firm or a law firm representing me? How does that work? Like, the details of it, I don't really fully understand. And I asked the guy on the phone if I should do that, bring someone internally. And he told me like he wishes he did that from the jump of creating his company. He wished he did that, but he can't do that now. He was talking about like giving someone like 10% equity. I was like, man, like, is that how much you got to give for internal work? And how does that even really work? Like, do I still need a firm to help us out? I don't really fully understand that part. But right after I finished that phone call, I had a meeting with an accounting firm, and I took the exact approach that I'm talking about. I heavily emphasized on the meeting about the vision. I went so in depth about the vision, and I even emphasized and I mentioned like my motivation and why the motivation would be good, and how the story would be inspiring, and how the story would be this and that, and why it's so important. Like, emphasizing that I'm gonna do whatever it takes to reach that vision because this goal is this important and it's this big and it's this important. I already said that. It's this good of a vision. Like, it has to happen. I emphasized on that. I emphasized about my team and my team's experience, and I said it in a very professional manner, with a lot of candor, a lot of honesty. And the meeting went well. I feel like the guy liked me, and he said he'll let me know. First thing he mentioned, right? He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna check my network, see which connections I have that I could introduce you to, the different groups that did investments like this, so you could see that we're a good firm." And I think that's a green light. That's a good sign. But like, man, the little song and dance just takes too long, man. I just want things to be quicker. So I was supposed to have 4 meetings today. I only ended up having 2, and then the other 2, one of them got rescheduled to tomorrow. They rescheduled, something happened. Then the other guy, this is funny. Let me pull up some of these messages, man. You guys are gonna like this. So the guy that I was supposed to talk to, he was part of like QLA. Like, he went to the castle, the seminar, right? Like, he spoke directly with Dan Pena, like the whole thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of I wasn't responding right away, but he said he was free tomorrow, and we discussed the time. So like the in between text that was taking kind of long to respond to, and we picked a time and we picked a platform to talk. He was saying WhatsApp. I was talking about Zoom, right? And this guy sends me a Zoom link. I join the link, right? I join it on time, on the exact time that we discussed. I join the link, and it says like there's a password or something. So I message him like it says there's a password. He sends me a second link, and he still doesn't send the password. Like 5 minutes pass by, something like that, and then he finally sends a password. I put the password in, and then it lets me in, and it says like, oh, we notified the people that you joined, right? So now I'm just waiting for him to let me in, and then all of a sudden the meeting ends. So then I was like, bro, this guy does not know how to do a Zoom meeting. So I sent him a Google Meets link, expecting him to join. And as that happens, this guy says, "You're 10 minutes late to the meeting you asked for. On top of that, I had to try to organize it myself. You'd get eaten alive at the castle unless you pull your socks up. Lesson is accountability. First impressions matter once. Fuck off and be better." Now that I'm kind of reading it, it's not that bad. You know what he's saying? Like, pull your socks up, like, be better. But then he's saying, like, fuck off. Even though it's his fault, man. Maybe I could have sent him a link. He wanted to do WhatsApp, so, like, I wasn't sure. Like, it was funny. I think it was funny. But yeah, man. So after that, I was kind of having problems with the developer, the guy who's making my website. So the guy I spoke with on the phone at the beginning of the day, he like emphasized how much a website can do for you, and how it's very professional and gives you like a business email, and that's really important. Like he was telling me that's important. So I took note of that, and that's gonna be priority. Like I need to take care of the website, have some kind of like professional presentation of a website. And you know what's crazy too is he mentioned to me that he has a really great connection to a loan officer who could give SBA loans. They don't hang you up so hard on the due diligence, and he could get a loan approved in 3 weeks. He was like, I could give you direct connection to him, blah, 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 just let me know. I was like, bro, this is crazy. Like, connections in this game is everything. Everything. You need to have connections. You need to kiss frogs. You have to kiss the frogs because you will find a prince. So look, I spent time making the website, and I'm not like a expert at making websites or anything. I found out that you can make websites on Canva. I love Canva, so I was trying to figure out how to like do that. I need to spend more time making my website. Really, it's not so much that it's like so hard. It's just more so me like figuring it out, because like I'm not really great at making websites. Really, like I've done Shopify websites with like tutorials. Like I don't have like a broad array of experience with that, so I need to spend some decent amount of time doing that. And then I also sent some messages to people on LinkedIn, just trying to connect, and really get to speak to them. And I'm kind of taking the approach of like a podcast. And maybe I shouldn't do that. You know, maybe I should just spend time cold calling these accounting firms, these law firms. But I really don't think it's just that simple. There's another layer to it that I'm probably not just understanding. But I'm messaging these people for podcast interviews, and the way it's gonna work and what you're gonna see is you're gonna see me asking professionals exactly like specific questions about where I'm at in the journey. And I think that would help someone else who's in the journey. They kind of like see these more detailed questions that aren't very out there on the internet. And along the line, you'll see like me ask about them and their journey and how they did it. Like, dude, the guy I talked to today, he was telling me he created this company with zero of his own money. Zero of his own money. And I think I didn't ask him directly if he did QLA, But I think he did QLA, guys. I think so. I think he was somehow like he's very familiar with that world. So um, maybe in the future I'll find out. But man, he was so generous. It makes me realize how much this industry lacks in like a community aspect of things. Like there's no communities online for deal transactions, and like accountants and lawyers and bankers could join this network, and like all these business owners could join this network. But maybe there's a reason why there's not a network in the space. Something else I asked the guy today, I was asking him about competition and how he feels about competition. And he really doesn't look at things like that. Like he was saying, like you're kind of comparing a Chipotle to a Burger King. Like they do different things. Like he doesn't look at it necessarily as competition. Um, I'm not gonna go too much in depth with that, but I'm just trying to brainstorm, I guess. Like why is there not a community aspect to this kind of stuff? You know? I know that when big deals happen, they want it to be behind closed doors because they don't want to have like a bidding war. I understand that. But network still matters in this game. It still does. Like in Wall Street, your connections, your credibility, and like the people you know is like an asset. This could be a direct asset. Like if somehow along this way, it creates some kind of community. Like if I make a community off of this channel and mix it with like people who are like trying to join and do this endeavor of like buying businesses alongside, it's like a mix of like people who are trying to do it and then like people who did do it all in like the same exact network. But I don't know, I feel like I'm missing something with that. Like it just sounds too good. But let me read some of your guys' comments. Where do I pull it up? Okay. All right. Preston Kim, 9096 says, "Do not give up." Appreciate that, Preston. And by the way, I'm recording this video about 2 days in advance. So I'm reading comments from 2 days before. All right. So Renowned Alex Andros, 0 to 1 billion. I was going to tell you that a good way to allocate a small community you're building is filtering them and placing them in a Discord or a group chat in which you're able to have people in multiple industries. Even if you're occupied and busy, it's fine as long as you're connected. You don't have to be attached. Let it keep building itself in a way, just an idea. So yeah, it's a good idea. I like that idea. And I appreciate the comment. It looks like you put some time into that comment. I appreciate it. And yeah, like I'm already kind of like seeing that along the way, like the connections really like move the needle. But the thing is, here's the thing. I don't want to just create a group chat filled with like people trying to figure it out. I want to have a decent mix of people who like are there, people who want to get there, and people who could help along the way, like accountants and lawyers, etc. Like they're all in the same place. They could all help each other. I think that's very valuable. Ashen Bennett, 6727. I actually know this person. We talk on Instagram. Wait, so what's the new pivot? If deferred is out the window, Dan still be talking about it in his recent seminar, but I don't know either. 0 to 1 billion. We're gonna touch that billion, bro. Yeah, man. This is a crazy series. 0 to 1 billion. Crazy. But I think it's easier to it's the same difficulty to accomplish something very hard as it is to accomplish something that's smaller. Like it's just as much effort, and I didn't read it, I heard it from the audiobook. of Steven Schwartzman. He created Blackstone. His book, What It Takes. He was talking about, I realized that it's just as hard to create a small business as it is to create a big business. So you might as well shoot for the biggest thing. That's literally out of his book, and it says it early on in the book. Like, you'll see what I'm talking about, and I think that's true as well. So you might as well go with 0 to 1 billion. Definitely not. I'm not gonna discount the work that entails, but yeah, pivot from the deferred fees. I kind of spoke about that already. You could hire someone in house and have them do it in house, but you know, I'm still not sure about that, to be honest. Next one, Mr. Kolv, 9071. This satire, okay. Renowned Alex Andros, final subscribe. Yeah, so not that many comments, not that many questions. I'm gonna keep it short. I'm not gonna go through like other videos, but yeah, if you're still watching at this point, comment 0 to 1 billion.